I mean, when you smoke a cigar, it
with ash holes.
would be cool. You put the cigar in, and then you
start the fucking video.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It's Artie the Cigar Guy here once again on City World Radio. Today sitting with me, I have the band One Slice, and we're going to talk cigars, we're going to talk music, and we're going to talk much, much, much more. So please stay tuned here on City World Radio. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome to Smoke Signals. Like I said before, I have here with me today the metal band One Slice. Gentlemen, please introduce yourself.
My name's Michael McCarty, and I play guitar and sing/scream for the band, write most of the music.
And I'm Tommy Russo, playing trumpet and occasional harmonies here and there, and some.
So that's actually a great place to start off. The reason I wanted you guys to come in is obviously because we're friends. I've known you guys for a while. When I worked in the inn, we used to hang out, smoke cigars. That's where I met you, right? But you guys decided to hook up and do this really, really interesting concept that I've been following since the conception, and it has really intrigued me. Okay, and that's the whole metal trumpet thing that you're going for, and that's really what I want to talk to you guys about that today, because that is so freaking cool. So I guess you guys decide who goes first, but explain to me how you guys came up with metal trumpet.
So what happened was originally Tommy and I started off as a trio. So we were a jazz trio. Tommy plays. I'm a classically trained, and I grew up playing metal and so on and so forth. But Tommy here is a jazz trumpet player. We started off as a jazz trio, and we had trouble getting gigs, and it started to get a little boring and this and that.
Who's number three?
We had guys that sat in and played keys.
Oh,
with us
okay, that's what you meant. I got you.
But like it was always our band.
I see.
It was our trio, but we had guys that would sit in and play upright or sit in and play keys with us.
Okay.
Anyway,
okay.
And it basically, it kind of got boring, and we weren't getting, jazz. In my opinion, I don't know if you agree, Tommy. Jazz is kind of waning. Is it dead? It's not dead.
It's waning. Looking for a new iteration.
I say this, and you guys might say that I'm just like kissing ass right now, but I listen to a ton of jazz. It's maybe it's a little different. It's called lo-fi. It's like jazz with a little bit of a beat to it, but I personally enjoy it. I don't know, but maybe you guys are talking about like smooth jazz, like old school Coltrane maybe type shit. Like that is not that popular, but I feel like jazz is still kind of irrelevant in a different kind of sense.
Jazz is still very relevant, but what. It's a very niche sort of, but so is metal, so is all these different things.
Yeah.
But I remember what happened, we turned on Live Evil. Anyone that knows that Miles Davis album, live recording, Live Evil, and Miles plays with distortion and wah. And I said to Tommy, why don't we go to Guitar Center? why don't we pick up some pedals for you and let's start making some really wacky sounds. And we started, and then we added that to the trio. And then I said, well, I was playing drums in the trio.
Sorry, just 1 second. When you say we want to get pedals, what is? Can you explain what a pedal is?
Distortion pedals, wah pedals, delay pedals.
So when he presses the pedal, it changes the sound.
It changes
of the
the
trumpet?
sound, right? Yeah, as opposed to so if everyone's heard like an acoustic guitar, but versus an electric guitar. That distortion, that's from a pedal.
I see.
But so we applied that to the trumpet, which Miles Davis had done. It was back in '72. I think that, as of note, Jimi Hendrix was supposed to play on that album, but died before. I think that's rumored. I don't know if it's actually true.
Yes.
But either way, so we hooked him up to a bunch of stuff. We started adding that to our trio sound. And then I migrated from drums to guitar and guitar to singing, and then we just sort of slowly turned into this sort of groove metal, groove rock, sound, and that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So, just so I understand, is there any if I were to listen to it without knowing any of this, would I be able to pick up trumpet, or does all of the trumpet kind of turn into this guitar kind of riffing noise?
Well,
I'm sorry I don't have the vocabulary to express
absolutely.
myself, but you know what I'm saying,
No, of course,
right?
of course. So, I think we're gonna play the second song that we were gonna play. You'll hear definitely the capabilities of what the trumpet can do, and at times it does sort of mimic closely to what a guitar kind of does, right? But at other times it sounds completely different. No guitar could make those sounds.
I see. So you're saying the trumpet,
it's a very unique.
It
very
doesn't
unique
emulate
sound.
per se the guitar. It's similar, but it can't. It can make certain noises that the guitar cannot. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. So it's a wind instrument. So like on the ending solo of the second song we're gonna play, we added a bass. So the trumpet is a soprano instrument. Is it a soprano instrument?
It's a soprano, high voice. They call it the Prince of the Brass family.
So it's a very high instrument.
Yeah.
So we got.
Is that what? Okay.
We got a pedal for him that brings him down an octave, even 2 octaves. We added distortion and wah to it. And you'll hear the solo, and it picks up, and it just gives this wind sound. And guitars can come to that, can kind of do some of that stuff. Tom Morello's the closest cat you're going to find that does stuff like that. But you don't have that articulation. You don't have the wind sound, that wind articulation. I don't think that without the I mean, it does emulate the guitar in certain aspects, but absolutely there are sounds that Tommy here gets without that no guitar player is going to be able to get.
Tom, what was that you said? Prince of the Brass family?
Yeah, what does
that mean?
They call it the Prince. It means
why
a high voice. Like years ago, before rock and roll, before guitars were amplified, the trumpets were the stars.
Really?
Then they started amplifying guitars, and the trumpet took over. Guitar took over from the trumpet.
I see. So you're telling me before rock, I guess, which was the
There was
guitar,
like Harry
the
James.
jazz. So you're telling me the trumpet was the most popular instrument in jazz?
Yes, because
Really?
you couldn't really hear the guitar. It was a rhythm instrument.
Interesting. But why do they call it the Prince? I don't get it.
Because it's the highest.
Oh, because a
princely sound.
Prince is like a high position? Is that it?
It's a high sound.
I'm sorry, I'm caught up on this. It's just I'm interested.
It's a lead sound.
It's a lead sound. It's the diva of the brass.
Oh, it's in the front. It's the one that you hear
the one that
most.
stands out.
Stands out. I see.
Yes.
I see. That's really, really interesting. So, Tommy, when you're playing, so you don't play guitar or anything else, just trumpet?
Just trumpet, little keys.
Little keys. So when you guys
sing with us too, though.
Yeah, I sing. I do sing.
Oh yeah, sing. That's right.
Harmonize.
When you're playing the trumpet, do you kind of find that you are in the mentality where you're trying to sound like a guitar, or are you playing trumpet and then he kind of changes it to sound like a guitar? Which way does it? Did I word that properly?
Yes,
you know
you
what I
did.
mean?
I'm trying to get away from the typical bebop type patterns that every trumpet player plays.
Yeah,
I call it
exactly.
typewriter trumpet.
That's it. Yes,
trumpet playing.
you got it. You got what I'm
I'm
asking.
trying to change the whole mode of it, the way Miles was doing. Miles was going in that direction, and it'd be an honor for me to think that I'm carrying the flag of Miles.
I see. So if what you're saying is if like you do gigs, right? Where do you usually play?
Well, we do Jules and
Tell people where this is. Not the address, but like the neighborhood.
Jules at St. Mark's, East Village, other places like that. You know.
And do you play like a jazz, or do you guys do shows as One Slice as well?
We do shows as One Slice as well.
Ooh, how did that go?
Well, we're working on doing it right now.
So right now we're basically, so we recorded 2 EPs, 2 demos, right? And so we both wrote the music, and Tommy harmonizes, does the trumpet.
What is harmonize? Sorry.
So like I sing / scream on some of this stuff, and then he comes in and does harmonies, right, over some of my stuff.
Oh, so it's like kind of like the background, like the support.
Right, the supporting vocals, right?
Interesting.
So now, I lost my train of thought. What were we saying?
Oh, good. I don't give a shit. Listen, how about this? On that note, why don't we play the first track? Because I want to hear it already.
So let me just very quickly
there's
here.
more.
There's very quickly. So the solo at the end of this song is called "Buy and Die." First of all, you're going to hear right away when the trumpet comes in. There's a high sound you're going to hear right away that a guitar can make, but it's not going to be able to totally make. Then after the breakdown, which you'll hear, there's something that is almost unearthly. No trumpets or no guitar is going to make that sound.
Okay.
And then the ending solo is Tommy with all these different effects. And I would pay high top dollar to hear any guitar player. Morello might be able to pull that shit off. Nobody else is going to be able to pull that off. And that's why Tommy and I work together, is because the sound that he gets, I can't find anywhere else.
All right, now I can't wait to hear it. Let's play this shit. Let's do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Ba and Da by One Slice. I don't know about you, but I really liked it. Again, Mike, I'm just going to let you go ahead and explain exactly what you were telling me while the music was playing. Go ahead.
Oh, as far as the trumpet?
Yeah. The Morello and what we were just literally discussing 10 seconds
Right,
ago.
okay, so Tommy can elaborate on this better than me, but I think what Tommy's trying to do, so all the there's no guitar solos in there. So the reason why it sounds rock, metal-ish is not just the screaming that I do, but also because of the way I play the guitar. But really what's happening with the trumpet is very special, and it's a little nuanced. It's late Miles Davis, sort of merged with Tom Morello, who uses a ton of effects, who is the guitar player for Rage Against the Machine, who's, I think are they recently getting back together just as of like right now
I heard
or
about
something?
this.
Anyway, so it was a personal hero of both of ours. Both musicians are. Tommy, is that correct to say that's how you're trying to play the
Yeah, I'm trying to hybridize, well, be original, but I always have Tom Morello and Miles Davis in mind. And
So wait,
recently,
I'm sorry. Miles Davis is a trumpet player.
Miles Davis is a
Right,
trumpet player.
Morello is a guitar
player.
correct.
Ah.
Now, where they come together is they both late Miles and used a lot of, not a ton of effects, but a lot of effects, wah, distortion, these kinds of things. Morello uses tons of different effects to get these just really wild solos that are really avant-garde sort of sound. So, Tommy,
Yeah, Morello creates that wind cave sound, which I try to incorporate. And Miles, if you hear Live Evil, you hear like, wow, you'll hear some of the patterns. And I didn't even realize I was channeling Miles. I was thinking of Morello, but I was actually channeling him after I heard Live Evil again. I said, I'll be damned.
And so you keep saying late Miles. What? So early on he was more like classical jazz, and then later on it was more sporadic. Or how do you,
so he
why
becomes
do you
like
keep saying late Miles.
because so Tom, you know this better than I do, but late Miles he uses effects like Bitches Brew. It's more avant-garde. What was early Miles like?
It was more like Miles Ahead. We heard it recently in the restaurant. Bump, 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 bump.
So more like classical.
Like
But that-
like
that-
50s New York. You know?
Yeah,
50
cool jazz.
That's why I started
It was the birth of the cool.
Salt peanut. That kind of shit.
Yeah, it was called the
Sorry,
birth.
yeah, kind of, yeah. But it was also, like who?
The birth of the cool. He sort of created cool, the cool sound, the jazz. Before that, it was Charlie Parker, fast bebop, hot sounding bebop. But he laid it back.
Yeah, he laid it back. He played. It was more mellow.
Yeah,
But his later stuff was more avant-garde and far more edgy.
right. He was getting tired of it. It was time. Miles is very
Progressive, and he if you listen to his early stuff to his later stuff, you see the progression of an artist.
So what you're talking about is he went more high energy, and that's what Tommy's doing. Tommy's doing like high energy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I gotcha. So what? Whoa, excuse me. So yeah, that was a pretty good one. What are we doing next? Is we're gonna actually listen to "Pay to Live." Is that right?
Yeah, sure.
So is there anything you want to tell the listeners about that song before we jump in?
I guess the only thing, so there's a trumpet solo at the very end. Okay, so two things. Well, maybe three things. First of all, it goes with the sort of, you were saying it sounds like British rock to you.
Yes, it does.
And it has, I mean, I grew up playing classical music and I grew up listening to Metallica, so it has those strong influences. That's what I'm playing guitar.
Okay, so just real quick, you say when I grew up playing classical music, guitar?
No,
Piano?
piano.
Aren't you a piano? Okay.
I grew up playing piano. And I studied at Berkeley at New England Conservatory.
Yeah, you gotta mention this shit.
And I got my master's in conducting and composition and these different things. Anyway, not that really matters, but I immersed myself from a very early age, even, and still am.
Okay, listen. Okay, real quick. Let me tell you something about these two guys. All right, I want you guys to picture this, even though you can't see them. One of them, like about 30-ish-year-old white dude. Another one, rough-looking trumpet player, kind of like, imagine the guy from like the Depression era trumpet player kind of guy, right? Okay.
Hobo.
Okay.
Hobo.
So I want you to picture these two guys sitting in a cigar lounge on a nice couch, smoking some cigars, and literally reading sheet music. And that really blows me away. How you guys don't play a single instrument, a single note, but you guys write a whole song just with a pen and paper and just talking to each other. B flat, D minor, C dick, whatever, like just throwing this shit out, like literally a whole song, and I think that's really special, like how you guys are able to kind of transform the visual into auditory without having to hear it.
Well, you absolutely hear it. You hear it internally.
Yeah, and not only that, but also like kind of manipulate it. Like you have the instruments in your mind, and you're able to literally play the song. I've seen you guys write whole freaking songs just right there for 1 hour sitting like two maniacs. Like, no, we're gonna do this. You know what I mean? So like you guys are the real freaking deal. I just want to point out.
Interestingly, Beethoven on his deathbed, and so was Mozart. They were dictating music. Beethoven couldn't hear any of his his last.
Deaf, right?
He couldn't hear any of it, but he heard it inside.
Yeah.
Mozart on his deathbed was dictating to his assistant. He couldn't get out of bed. So you hear these things internally, right? Mm-hmm. One interesting thing. So we all met at the cigar spot. The reason the band is named after Tommy, by the way, because Tommy would come in always late, and it would always piss me off. Anyway, it's like a marriage without sex, as we talked about earlier. But anyway, so he would come in late, but he would always come in with one slice of pizza. Right? And so everyone started calling him One Slice, Tommy One Slice. And we were throwing around names for the band, blah, 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 different, whatever. And we said, fuck it, let's just call it One Slice. And so that's where that came out of.
I really like the name just because, it's
an homage to Tommy, too.
It's an homage to Tommy.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
It's a good nickname, but it's also like, for somebody that has no idea that the name originates from one dude who would eat a slice of pizza with literally the world's largest amount of onions on earth on top of it,
and then spray you with it when you're trying to talk to him.
Okay, and then because
he feeds his shirt instead of his mouth.
And then like you would think it's like maybe like a samurai or some shit, like one slicing something, like or a chef. You know what I mean? It doesn't like if you don't know the story, you don't automatically think pizza. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sure, yeah.
Or a slice of musical life.
But so as far as pay to live, the unfortunately we don't have the most up to date version. We're gonna play you here, but Tommy did harmonies on it. I think the harmonies are good. We did a better version recently that has better harmonies on it, but you'll get the idea. It has that still metal sound, and then at the very end, probably my favorite solo of all time that Tommy's done, and really one of my favorite solos ever. It comes at the very end of this, and again, I said it before, I would pay top dollar to hear any guitar player even try to make these sounds. I think Morello maybe could do it. Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine, maybe, but it's a wind instrument, so you get this wind sound that is impossible to get on guitar. And that's why I work with this crazy bastard.
All right, let's get it going. I want to hear this. Let's go. right, guys, that was "Pay to Live" by One Slice. So, Mike, you were mentioning that this song reminds you of like Cthulhu Rising, right? Is that what you said?
Well, you were talking that very end, that last solo, which Tommy does on, which is trumpet, and what that evokes for you, and I for me it evokes sort of this ominous sound. Anyone that knows H.P. Lovecraft, Call of Cthulhu. It's almost like this monster rising out of the water. That's what it comes to.
It's hard
my
to
mind.
describe. I didn't. It wasn't unpleasant. It wasn't. But it was like almost like going into another dimension or something. You know. It was quite interesting. The thing about it is it's not. It's so. I guess what I'm trying to say is, where does the pedal come into this? Like what?
So if you heard him play that, it would
because that sounded like trumpet,
right? Because you could hear the wind, right? You could hear
it sounded like trumpet, like it just sounded like a guy playing a trumpet. Didn't you say that you use some sort of synthesizer?
No.
Or am I missing it?
No. So the pedals, what are the pedals we use?
We use effects. We used
a bass pedal on there. So to bring him down, I think it's only one octave. It might be two. One octave. And then distortion, very high gain, a little bit of reverb,
right.
and then wah pedal.
The wah pedal, right?
And it really it opens.
And all those are separate.
Those are separate pedals. So if you can imagine, we're talking about harmonies. If you imagine different kinds of tobacco blends that make up one cigar. So these are different effects that make up one.
But if
sound.
he has 4 pedals and only 2 feet. How does he?
Well, the wah needs constant attention, right? So Tommy, right, you're doing your thing with the wah, but right when the solo starts, he kicks the distortion on, he kicks the bass on.
Oh, so it's not like a car pedal where you need to keep your foot there. It's just an on and off switch.
Right, and except the wah, he does these swells and these different kinds of things with it. That is actually kind of similar.
I
to
gotcha. Because I'm trying to, because. I was just trying to put 2 and 2 together, and I finally freaking clicked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that particular song you said is not mastered. Is that what you said?
It's not mastered. It's still we call it a scratch track.
What's the what would you got to do to that? It sounded not bad. You said you needed to work on his harmonizations.
Right. We don't, unfortunately we don't have it here, but we recently did another version that just has basically this. It sounds almost the same, except it has a little bit tighter, better harmonies for the chorus, and then it also just sounds. It has more presence, if you will. So, like with a cigar, a cheap cigar, sort of has it leaves a nasty flavor in your mouth at the end. A well mastered track has a full sound. It has.
Sharper.
It's sharper. You can identify the bass sound from the bass drum kick pedal. There's different. It's a balanced sound, right? Balanced flavor, balanced sound.
On that note, so let's say you record the first thing. Where do you do this? Do you do this at home? So is there a place you go to?
We record all this in the East Village, right? If anyone knows East Village, St. Mark's, so we have a little studio apartment there that we record. Everything. It's on 9th Street. Who's lived on 9th Street? I think Hendrix lived on 9th Street. Piazzolla lived on 9th Street. Kerouac. Who else? Tons of people have lived.
Pete Hamill lived there, right where the Mud Cafe is. Pete Hamill, a great writer and newspaper man, lived there.
Okay, wait a minute. So you're saying this neighborhood that you guys record in is like notorious for having a lot of
crazy, really wacky,
St. Mark's,
awesome artists. Yeah, St. Mark's, that area of the East Village.
Gotcha.
Henry Rollins signed.
Henry Rollins, that's a history guy. What band was he in? White Stripes?
He was in Black Flag.
Black Flag,
and then he started his own band,
color.
Rollins Band, and he does all these. He does really wonderful.
But that's the history guy, though, right?
He does
like American history. I watched him.
I swallow and eat history.
Yeah, what he does, though, is he does the spoken word. But interestingly, what would it be? It's like a few blocks from where we play and record.
Odessa.
He signed his contract with Black Flag at Odessa, which is a diner. It's very much like Veselka. If you've ever been there, Veselka.
Is it Russian or is it like Russian cuisine?
It's like Ukrainian.
It's Ukrainian.
Oh,
yeah, right. And
that's my shit.
It's amazing latkes and it's fabulous pierogies and all that stuff. But so it's a historic neighborhood, and it's just a fantastic place to hang out and
So, but
play
is
and
this a
get in trouble.
studio or is this?
It's Tommy's apartment.
Oh,
that
so
that
that's where you
turned-
guys record this at Tommy's house.
Railroad flat, yeah.
Right.
Sick.
Everything except the drums, because the drums are they're a wild card. You have to mic up the drums in a different way, and you know. So we go to a place called Funkadelic Studios, and we record the drums there.
Quick question. So I have, for instance, at home I have a digital drum set. Would that is that so you would that fix your problem? Because that's what I'm saying.
It depends on. I mean, I've played on those, and some of them are quite good. The very, very expensive models are good, and if the not so expensive ones tend to really not be very good.
Yeah, I got like a $600 one. The shit like has like 45 different pads. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
crazy stuff, and it's great because my buddy who plays drums, he played on it, and you know, you just throw on the headphones. And you
Totally,
don't
yeah.
bother the neighbors. It's great.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
What I'm saying is, does that work? Do artists that you
Our
use
artists do
drums
that, but
use those kind of things? Or?
yeah, but I mean, I personally, as a drummer, so I grew up playing percussion as well and drums, and I prefer not to play on those kinds of kits. That's a personal thing. I just don't think it has the same. You know, it's the difference between hand rolled and machine rolled, right? Cigars, and it just doesn't have the same touch. Doesn't have the. I can do different sort of rim shots, do different. Play on different areas of the drum that you just can't, nuances of the kit that you just can't get with most, not with all, but with most electronic drum kits.
I see.
Now they've made a lot of progress with them over the years, and so
So you're saying there's drum kits where you can literally, depending on where you hit the pad, it makes a different noise.
makes it different. It makes it it's
How hard you hit it.
right.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
but that's how a
probably
normal
like
drum like right here this can if I
20,000.
hit it here
Yeah.
versus
Yeah, of course,
right. So it's like it makes different sounds to where you hit it, but it's the same can, you know.
I see. That's interesting.
Organic. It sounds organic.
Okay, yeah, but right now the best thing obviously is just the real deal. And you do the drumming?
I do. I record the drums. Yeah.
So how many? Again, we're not here to really talk about both of you personally. We're here to talk about the band. But how many instruments do you play?
I mean, I play keys, drums, guitar, and I guess I sing. You know, I kind of sing.
Pretty good.
Hey, the voice is an instrument, in my opinion.
Of course, it's absolutely an instrument.
So,
it's the first instrument. It's the first instrument.
Or maybe like two rocks. That could have been the first instrument. Guy banging two rocks together.
Could be, yeah.
Made a fucking.
Well,
beat.
they always say the first instruments were voice and then percussion, voice and drums,
Just like some like
hitting on stuff and singing.
some monkey beatboxing.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Or communication, like warning other tribes. You know, that's how it started, really.
Yeah. Of course. I mean, again, it depends on whether you. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I'm just. We totally went on a tangent. How about this, Mike? Why don't you tell us about our next song?
So it's Barely Alive. So this one has a guitar
Is this
solo
the first
in it.
one that you ever made?
No.
I thought it was. I heard this one for sure.
I think the very first one.
What was the very
is
first
like
one?
in a file somewhere that we will hopefully never release. But the first one that we really felt good about after sort of embarking on this sort of experiment of transitioning from the trio to this band is. I think was Buy and Die. I think it might have been Buy and Die.
Maybe, yeah. I might just be making a mistake there. All right. So what is there anything you want to tell us about it?
Barely Alive. It doesn't feature the trumpet as much. You'll hear there's a main guitar riff, and then there's a scream that comes in, and then you're gonna hear this what does sound very similar to a guitar. It's got Tommy with distortion, a little bit of wah, a little bit of delay on it. And that's Tommy. And then at the very end, there's a guitar solo. So I figured we should do one song with a guitar solo. And it has an awesome a breakdown where I scream some profanity, which I think is a great part of the song.
It's okay. This is online radio, so we can totally do profanity. Hit it. ladies and gentlemen, that was Barely Alive. It was a good one. It's shorter than the other songs, but I think short and sweet is not a bad thing, right? I gotta say, I really enjoyed the ending. What were you what did you, the you know what I mean, like the trumpet.
That was false valving.
False valving. So what is that?
Yeah, it's a way you're playing a note using the same note but two different fingerings. It creates a fake legato tongue, soft. Instead of going, it's.
I see. So it's almost like half, like not pressing it, like.
No, it's alternate valves. Like you could play that A note with the second finger and the first and second finger, and by moving the first finger, you create that repetitious.
Oh, I see. So it's just about a speed.
They call it a false valve.
I see. So valve is what is there's like, how does a trumpet work? It has buttons.
A valve, a trumpet is like a bugle, is 3 different bugles, and the valve has 3 different lengths.
I see.
So the one valve presses down like maybe a 5th, another valve maybe a 4th. It's actually 3 bugles in one.
I see.
And the valves change the length. That's what a trumpet really is. 3 bugles in one.
Okay, I don't know what a bugle is.
Yeah. Bugles. Yeah. That's like one bugle.
One bugle. So the only bugle I know is actually like I think it's a type of potato chip or snack or whatever. Bugle.
That's my favorite too.
What do
you like, nacho cheese or regular?
I can eat them both. I like ranch actually.
Ranch is not bad.
Yeah, you know what? So I think we're done talking about one slice. We're gonna switch this over to a potato chip episode. So where was the last gig you guys played?
Well, so the last gig we played was as a trio. So we've been in the process of recording this album, and we're looking for. We basically need, since I've been recording the drums and the bass. We are in search of anyone knows anyone and wants to get in contact with us. We're at One Slice Music on Instagram. Send us a message if you want to play bass or drums for our band. We will pay you for rehearsal time and stage time. Hopefully you want to just play for us for free. But either way, but if you think
I'm going to give you money, but if you can do it for free, that works too. That was exactly what you said.
I mean, if you want to play with us, whatever. But if you want to sit in with us, we'll pay you. Either way, bottom line is we've been working on the album, and so we're in the process now. Since the album is just about done, it's being mastered. It's just about done. We are we need to find since I was recording all the other stuff, we need to find someone to sit in on these gigs with us, or be an official, either sit in and get paid or be an official part of the band.
Or historically saying we call them Hessians, going back to the Revolutionary War.
They're guns for hire, yeah.
Oh, I see. So okay. But who does the actual, like? So you were saying you guys are right at the finish line. Who does all the editing? That's you, Mike?
Right, yeah.
Oh, I see. So when you say we need to master it, that's pretty much you need to tighten it up.
Tighten it up and make it sound just a little prettier than it does.
Mm-hmm.
It still sounds, to a decent extent, like it was recorded in an East Village basement, which I think has its charm, but also I would like to get it to be just sound a little more professional.
There's like a lot of people that started out just in a garage.
Absolutely.
Like Lupe Fiasco and whatever. I don't know many more, but I know they exist. So
well, the garage band. That's
yeah.
The garage band.
The garage band. Yeah. Not, and that's way before Steve Jobs and that god awful program.
Exactly. Like that's the thing. A garage.
It's a decent program.
It seems to be the place where people who want to do some weird shit go. Right, you want to start a company, you'll do it in your garage.
Right, yeah. Well, that's Apple started in a company.
The garage is almost like a nexus of creativity.
Absolutely,
so weird. So listen, guys, we don't have that much time left, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna play you a little bit more of, I think, one more song. What do we got over there, Mike?
So this is it's called "I Will Never Die."
Oh, I will never die.
I know. I don't know. We didn't spend that much time thinking about the names of it. Everything has to do with death and all this and materialism and the cynicism of living in New York City.
The dark side.
But yeah, so that and this has if we get to the end, it has a really really cool trumpet solo at the very end. 2 trumpet solos, a bass solo overdubbed with a high trumpet solo.
We're gonna play like 2 minutes. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you so much for staying with us today. I am Artie the Cigar Guy. Once again, this is Smoke Signals. You guys can find me at Ashhole NYC. That's ASHHOLE NYC. That's on Instagram. That's on YouTube. I do about a video every 1 to 2 days. Mad posts. You'll love all of it. So go and check it out. Gentlemen, please tell the people where they can find you.
So you're going to find us on Instagram, One Slice Music, at One Slice Music. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on all streaming platforms. We got 2 EPs out. We're gonna have our full album out, and we'll be playing all over the motherfucking.
What's the album called?
We don't have the name for the album, but quite yet.
Okay.
The
We have an idea.
the two EPs is just self-titled. The second one is Sounds from the Cave, which is a reference to our East Village hellhole.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. We're gonna end this one with what's the song?
I Will Never Die.
I Will Never Die.
I love cigars. Blah, blah, blah.